Hey friends, Sean from Draft Therapy here, and on today's review for you, will it ever stop? Incessant is an 8.5% double New England style IPA from Bell's Brewery in Comstock, Michigan. Well, what do we have here? It's a double New England style IPA from Bell's. Now, do they have a single New England style IPA in their portfolio? I can only think of Side Yard, which is really super limited. So let me know if you know of one in the comments down below. But this one here is Bell's double New England style IPA, and it started as a general store only release. Now it's hitting limited distribution. I saw it start to hit shelves in Southeast Lower Michigan a couple weeks back. And I have it here on the channel today. It just hit my local county, hit Wayne County just this week, so I picked it up just a couple days ago. And Bell seems to be one of the major breweries when they say their beer is limited lately. When they say it's limited, it actually is. So let's get on with it. We'll get this into a glass, but we're gonna take a look at the label first. Fun fact, incessant simply means without pause or interruption. That's why I made that comment in the intro. But it's taken on a negative connotation, and a synonym of incessant, as maybe a more positive connotation would be relentless. So let's take a look at the label here. And this is like, for Bell's, this is really far out there. They generally have at least a motif or something. When you see a Bell's label, on a shelf, you can say, oh, that's a Bell's beer. This one is really very different. So we're gonna start at the top, just front and center. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on here, but it has the Bell's logo here, which is actually really hard to make out between all this paint swirl stuff. And then it's basically an entirely wrapped can design, and in the background it's green and brownish or black on the top, and on the bottom it's pink and like a purple, and pink letters it says incessant, and then on top of that, like kind of a scrawled spray paint style font choice here, it also says incessant. And if I wasn't really looking at it, I wouldn't even see the stuff in the background. But underneath it, it says double New England style India Pale Ale. You asked incessantly, so here we are, a New England IPA from Bell's. Our twist, we doubled it. Enjoy. So maybe that answers my question. And then on the back it says brewed and canned by Bell's Brewery Incorporated in Comstock, Michigan. The government warning, this is, again, like I said before, 8.5% alcohol by volume. Shelf life is 3 months, has the craft beer logo, and bellsbeer.com. So yeah, I guess we asked, we bother them so much, and they decided 2 years after everybody else started that they were going to make a New England style IPA. Why make a single? We'll just make a double. So maybe that answered my question right there. But if you do know of any New England style IPA from Bell's single, let me know. So let's go ahead and let's look at the date. Okay, so this was packaged on May 4th, 2020, just a few days after my birthday, so maybe they canned it for me. And this is Saturday the 16th, so I'm about 2 weeks out from this being canned. So let's go ahead and crack this one open. We'll put a nose on the can. I don't see it looking too hazy, but it's in the can, so. Wow. Really dank. It's got a bit of a citrus note in there, but the dankness is like a sweaty dankness this time around. I'm really picking up some of those, some sweaty notes on the dankness there. Let's go ahead and pour this. It's actually it's really clear directly out of the can itself. Pouring it into the glass though, yeah, I mean, I'm letting it go a little slow so we can let that head build up. And we're gonna stop right there. It's not that hazy. Now I know New England styles don't have to be hazy, but most of the time when we see a New England style IPA, we see it hazy. Pouring in this IPA glass, it is about pretty much three fingers worth of head there. And really compact bubbles across the top, really nice tight bubbles on the cross section. It's a little bit larger, a little bit bigger bubbles here, but I mean, it's all pretty tightly packed. And let's go ahead and hold this one up to the light. Yeah, I mean, it's hazy, but I can see clear as day, like the light through this. I can see a lot of carbonation streaming up, of course, on this glass on the bottom. It's a little bit thinner, so you can see through it a little bit better, but I mean, I can almost see details on my fingers. So it's not really that hazy. I mean, a recent video that I did was for Pseudo Sue, and that's a pale ale, and that was way thicker and hazier than this, but whatever, to each their own. Let's put a nose on it. Yeah, getting that dankness, getting like a bit of a hop pungency, like that dankness, like I said, it's kind of sweaty. Slight citrus note in there, but this has some kind of earthy, like I said, just sweaty kind of smells. Let's go ahead and I'm going to try it out. So cheers. Okay. So the mouth feels a little bit lighter. It's crisp. It's relatively refreshing. The taste I'm getting is like really pithy, zesty, hardcore citrus bitterness. It's not overly sweet. Let's take another drink and then I'll kind of get into it. Mouth feels really not that puffy or cloudy or pillowy. It's more kind of like a little bit lighter than a medium. It's like a light medium. The taste itself, I'm getting a lot of earthy kind of hoppiness. I'm getting a little bit of like a floral. I'm getting a little bit of citrus as well. Like I said, it's got this citrus kind of note to it. And the thing for me, when I think of New England style IPA, I think of a IPA that is a little bit on the sweeter side, has some bitterness, but it's really smooth. Smooth bitterness, like it rolls from that sweetness, that pillowy mouthfeel into that kind of, if there's a bitterness, it's there, but it's not in your face, and it's a little bit more smooth and subdued. This is not that. Yeah, like I said, I'm getting a big, I said earthy before, but I'm getting more of a floral kind of hoppiness. I'm getting a bit of a citrus hoppiness as well, but the overwhelming kind of hop note in there is more of a floral a floral hoppiness. And I think I mentioned on one of the previous, the Walt Whitman beers, one of the floral IPAs that they did. It might have even been one of the more, I don't even know which one it was, but that doesn't really do it for me. Like I'm not big into floral notes, floral hoppy notes. I don't know. I didn't do enough research to be able to tell you what hop varieties were used in this or what different kind of hops. I don't know. So I can't say like, oh yeah, I can pinpoint it and say it was this specific kind of hop. And maybe I'm getting, like on the aftertaste, I'm getting maybe like a faint melon flavor in there as well. What I can tell you is this isn't really up my alley. Like I'm going to finish this beer, but it's, Bell's, the thing that Bell's has is that they can put 6-packs out of beer or whatever. They can put beer out and they can produce it in such quantities that it can be if they want to do it this way, they can make it a little bit cheaper. Like I know that people with I'm going to throw Lighthearted out there. People say with Lighthearted, like it's half the hops and half all this stuff. Why is it expensive as Two Hearted? And I understand where they're coming from. I can also understand that, they still have to pay for all the other stuff, Bell's. That's a whole nother story. This is a 4-pack. This comes in 4 16-ounce cans. It's I want to say that I paid $15.99 for the 4-pack plus the deposit, the 40-cent deposit. Yeah, I mean, I don't get it. Like, I don't understand why they market this as a New England style IPA, a double New England style IPA at that, but it doesn't have any of the characteristics of a double New England style IPA. It tastes more like an IPA to me, and that's fine. But when you market it as being a New England style IPA, and Bell's just doesn't do very many of those, they have been very late to jump on the train. It's not as advertised. It's kind of like when they did Official and they said, hey, we got this hazy IPA, hazy juicy IPA, and you get it and it's hazy, but it's not juicy. And and I think a lot of people, myself definitely included in this, think of a hazy IPA as being something that's like close to being a New England style IPA. I think hazy and New England to me are like, they go hand in hand, and that beer just wasn't that. And me personally, I was disappointed in that. Same thing with this. Like, I go into it thinking, oh, okay, Bell's is doing this double New England style IPA. It's going to be hazy. It's going to be, which it is not hazy. It's going to be hazy. It's going to be smooth, have the smoothness to it. It's going to have the sweetness to it. And maybe they want to do this and they don't want to be like everybody else. They're doing it this way because it's not It's not what everybody else is doing, and Bell's wants to be, you know, they want to blaze their own trail into this style. But I personally have had, you know, not to sound like, so, and I'm sure a lot of you guys watching this have had this many. I've had hundreds of different New England style IPAs. And when I think of a New England style IPA, there's all these different twists, you know, on the East Coast, in New York, and in, you know, places like that. They're doing this New England style IPA. Massachusetts, you think of Trillium, you think of Treehouse, you think all these different places. They're doing the sweet New England style IPA. And they are doing it, but they have this twist on it. They're putting, like, you know, hops with more of an apricot flavor. They have, you know, this just, it's like that sweet kind of traditional New England style IPA, but it has a twist on it. And then we think of Michigan with M43, we think of Boss Tweed. I know obviously they're the same places. I think when I think of New England style IPA from Michigan, I think of stuff like the Dank Juice line, and maybe the Odd Side won't call it that, but that's what I think of a New England style IPA. I think of Witch's Hat's This Guy. I think of, you know, countless other beers that are really similar, but they all have their specific lane, and they're all just a little bit different. And then we have Bell's that, you know, they're gonna put one out, and everybody, you know, we lose our minds about it. And I'm sorry if I'm just going on and on and on, and this is gonna be a long video because of it, but you know, we come to think of Bell's as doing this thing, and they're going to do it, and like, whoa, Bell's is going to do it. They know what they're doing. Two Hearted, it's like, we love that beer. And maybe Two Hearted was so different, and that's what we love about it, is that it's so different. But I think now the New England style IPA style is so established that when they do something like this, and they do it like so just different and off the wall, it kind of, you know, it's like you're not... I feel like I'm not getting what I'm paying for. Like I feel like I paid for a ticket to see, I don't know, Mission Impossible, you know, 6 or whatever the most recent one is, and instead I got, I don't know, Steel Magnolias or something. Like, I got the bait and switch. Like, I went and I bought this beer because I thought it was going to be a New England style IPA, and I pick it up, and it's a very different style, just a regular old IPA, but they put a New England thing on it. It's not hazy at all. It doesn't have that sweetness, doesn't have that fruitiness, doesn't have that juiciness. It has a floral note, which, you know, is, maybe I'm just missing the point, you know, but that's my take on it. All right, friends, that's my take on Incessant from Bell's Brewery. Do you get FOMO when you watch this channel? Do you know of a base New England style IPA from Bell's? Do you think that they just tried to go so far outside the box on this one? Let me know in the comments down below. Have you had the one from the general store? Does it measure up to this one? Let me know about it in the comments down below. If you like beer, you might want to subscribe and click that bell, because I'm here talking about beer twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's all for free for viewers just like you, and you might miss your newest favorite if you're not subscribed and getting those notifications. So until next time, I'm Sean from Draft Therapy. Thanks for stopping by. Stay safe, and remember, drink craft beer, support your local breweries wherever they are, and most importantly, don't forget to treat yourself to a little draft therapy. Thanks for watching. Cheers.